Welcome again, everybody. I'm Lisa Marshall. I'm the co-director of HeatSmart Tompkins. That's a new role for me. I just took on a couple of months ago. I also want to introduce my colleague, Jonathan Comstock, who is the HeatSmart founder and been the director for several years now. And I'm also going to introduce Adam Flint from HeatSmart Southern Tier, who's co-hosting this event with us today. Jonathan, do you want to say hi real quick, and then Adam?
Welcome, everybody.
So as I said before, we are HeatSmart Tompkins. We are a community-based nonprofit dedicated to promoting and educating clean, affordable, and comfortable and healthy home solutions for your home heating, and also your building envelope, or which is looking at things like insulation and air sealing. We got started as a solarized program. Solar Tompkins is the parent organization of HeatSmart. And the idea was then, after having fought and won the fracking fight in New York, some people were excited to work on the energy solutions that would lead us towards reducing our carbon footprint and making a healthier state. That program was so successful in Tompkins County that Solar Tompkins decided they didn't really need to promote solar anymore in Tompkins County, that other folks were doing that, and there was widespread adoption of solar, and so they moved into HeatSmart. And so we, again, are a nonprofit. We don't make any money off of any sales, but we partner with several local installers that we recommend. And if you are interested in getting a proposal, we hook you up with them. And can I just ask everybody to mute one more time? I hear some background noise. So many studies have shown that one reason, or the main reason, that there aren't more heat pumps installed in people's homes is that people really just don't know what they are. And that includes both customers and HVAC contractors. So the mission of HeatSmart is to really educate the community and also the contractor community on what heat pumps are, the best ways to install them, what kinds of equipment work for what kinds of homes and buildings. And we're always trying to innovate and learn more about the best practices for those things. We're here to fill that gap. So we do that by providing accessible information on the different kinds of options. This webinar is an example of that. We provide transparency for costs and quality issues. We work closely with our installers to make sure that they are offering you the highest quality equipment and that they are offering it for the best possible price. And we post those prices on our website. And we are a neutral source to answer your questions or troubleshoot anywhere along the journey. So whether you're first thinking about or learning about heat pumps for a future project, or whether you've signed a contract with an installer already, or whether you have a heat pump system installed but it's not working the way you want it to and you want to help troubleshoot, we're here to help talk to you, answer your questions, make sure that you get the information you need. If we can't answer the question, we know who can. So as you can see from this map, HeatSmart is such an amazing idea that we started here in Tompkins. Can you make sure you're muted? Did everybody make sure their phone or computer is muted? Thanks. HeatSmart started here in Tompkins County. We raised money from local foundations to start this work. But we were really fortunate that NYSERDA, which is the state agency funded through all of our utility bills, saw the value of this program and started to fund both our program and offer funds to start other HeatSmart or clean heating and cooling communities across New York State. And this map shows the growth of that program. And by the end of this year, there'll probably be an updated map with even more HeatSmart programs to show. So this is a good idea that is spread across New York State and even to other states. So we're really, really proud of the work that we've done in HeatSmart Tompkins to start this. So in the time of COVID, we've had to change some of the ways that we do our HeatSmart programs. What we love to do is come and meet folks in their home communities, in libraries and churches, community halls, and in homes to talk about HeatSmart program and introduce you to the miracles of heat pumps and to all of our installer partners. We can't do that now. So we really encourage you to make use of our website. We're posting webinars and information on there all the time. The previous couple of webinar series are posted on our website, and you can view those at your leisure and share them with your friends. We also love to ask folks with homes with heat pumps installed to open their homes for tours. And again, we can't do that now. So we have a few people who have taken home videos of their homes and their systems, and we're going to be editing those and putting them up on the website and on our Facebook page. And we want you to know that we've worked closely with the installers, and our installers are working closely with New York State to make sure that we have protocols in place for safe home assessments during COVID. Because our area is in phase 3, they are legally allowed to come to your home to do a home assessment. But if you're not comfortable with that for any reason, they can still do a remote assessment, talking to you on the phone, looking at your home on Google Earth. You can send them pictures and even video of your home so that they can make a proposal for you based on that information. Or they can come to your home if you are comfortable with that. They have protocols in place, taking temperatures, washing hands, wearing masks, and so on. And they will discuss that with you when they set up a home visit. So that's my part done, and I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and turn over this presentation to Ryan Dailey of Dailey Electric or Dailey Geothermal to do his case study presentation. Take it away, Ryan.
Is that up there?
Yes, you might want to put it in present mode, but we can see your slides and we can hear you. Or at least I can.
How did I mess that up?
I think you can click where it says from beginning.
Oh, there it is. I'm not good at PowerPoint. Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Dailey. I am the owner of Dailey Electric in Penn Yan. We're a small business that has about 20 employees. We have 2 full-time people in the office, and we mainly do new construction, plumbing, heating, and electric, and geothermal installations. Half our guys focus solely on geothermal installations, and we do a lot of those, and majority of them in our new homes also, plus along with our retrofits. My dad started the business in the late 90s, basically as plumbing in fossil fuel furnaces and boilers, more boilers. And I took it over from him in 2007 and immediately contacted John Manning, who I think is actually on here today. And he helped us along our way in geothermal, and we've gradually transitioned our business pretty much into geothermal installations and heat pumps. So that being said, we will look at Mr. Monger's system here that is a water-to-water geothermal system. So I'm going to flip the first page. Here is Bruce's house. As you can see, the big ugly propane tank in the front yard. He has a unique house that for a water-to-water installation presented actually some interesting problems, I thought, right off the bat. The house has baseboard heating in it. So any house that has baseboard heating in it can generally be an issue with geothermal. It has been a big issue in the past with lower water temperatures produced by the units. It's a little bit easier now that we have some units that can produce a higher water temperature, but still an issue. 180 degrees out of a boiler, 190 or 200 is a whole different ballgame than 130 to 140. So we got down there and looked at his house, and the house is actually built on a slab, but raised up off the slab by about 4 to 6 inches, I believe. And there's baseboard runnel units, which are very nice units, thankfully, throughout the house. And then there's also you can see off to the left, there's a bedroom, his son's bedroom down there that is almost completely detached from the main part of the house. And that sits on a slab. It's a round room, has no accessibility to it, had one heater in there, and very odd setup for a heating distribution system. So he has the living room is the peaked area there you can see, and that has a huge solar gain room. So that was some help that we were looking at. But my main concern was that there was 1/2-inch pipe feeding all of the baseboard units, and that is very, very difficult to get the flow rate that you need to feed baseboard units, let alone anything. We just don't run 1/2-inch to anything with a water-to-water unit. So I was very nervous about that. Even just looking at it right off the bat, it made me cringe kind of badly. I knew that if we could possibly get some air handlers or some air distribution in the house, we could help that. But I was still really concerned that it would not heat when we got to a lower temperature. So we did a heat loss, and in the meantime, I asked Bruce if he would turn the temperature back on the boiler to 120 to see if we could maintain a comfortable temperature. They did not like the home to be very warm, so I thought maybe we could do it after I did the heat loss. He turned it back, and it didn't go good because we had aquastat issues and boiler issues, and I don't know that we ever fully achieved what we were trying to figure out if it would do 120 because of the boiler issues that arose real quickly. So that is the basic layout of the house. And pretty quickly, he said he wanted geo after we talked to him. There wasn't really any discussion as far as putting a boiler in, putting air source heat pumps in. The whole discussion from day one was geothermal and how we could get this in there. It was a very small utility room to do what we wanted to do in this room, which I will show you. So there's a heat loss we did, and we came up with roughly 43,000 BTUs and the cooling load 19. I wasn't comfortable with that cooling load. I thought it was a little bit more because of the solar gain on that room, and the heating load I was borderline on, but I thought we were good with a 5-ton system, 5-ton water-to-water unit, no problem, should handle that if we could get distribution properly. So here is the loop being put in. And again, you can see on Bruce's picture, you can see the Moravic's well drone rig standing there. That's a really cool picture. The room all the way here to the left is a huge challenge, especially with no accessibility for us. I was very nervous about that. There's to the right of that picture is the borehole. It's a 500-foot borehole, 1.5-inch pipe, and grouted to the surface. And Preston is getting ready to do some fittings on there. There is not a lot of people, we get a lot of questions about vertical systems versus horizontal. People don't necessarily get to see them. And this is what it looks like when it goes down the hole. That's a unreeler, and that's a tremmy line. The grout line is on the trailer next to it, and that's how the grout is forced down the hole. Just a nice picture that we don't normally get to see on systems. So this house being on a slab, we had no option to bring the pipes up in a conditioned space like we would normally do. So the loop actually had to come up the outside and in, which is not the best option, but we had no option. And we've had to do it in the past, and we have not had any issues with it. So you see the outdoor air sensor. This is right on the outside of the utility room. We also had to come back out of the utility room and drop underground and feed an insulated pipe down to that lower bedroom and bring that up on the outside to bring in hot water, cold water to feed the multi-aqua unit that we put in that room for really to take care of all the needs. So they both had to come outside. Definitely not the optimal situation, but we were pretty happy with the outcome as far as temperatures that we got out of everything. Bruce made those covers. They're the very nice covers. You would never know there's geothermal pipes behind there. And there is another one at the other end of the house that's actually nicer, and probably took him a whole weekend to do because he had to sketch it around stones. So here's the utility room. There's the boiler that was in place. This is in process of being ripped out. We had tore the indirect hot water tank out and put an electric tank in so that they had temporary hot water. We do that right off the bat usually when there's a hydronic system going in. So that's on its way out. To the right is the finished product for the most part, I believe. There is a 5-ton water furnace OptiHeat unit on the bottom. It's an NEW066. And then on top is a NSW025, which is used for the domestic hot water needs. There is a 10 kW auxiliary inline heater. There's a white box right in the middle of the screen with the only exposed copper really you can see. And if something were to happen or the heating didn't keep up at a certain amount of runtime, that pump turns on and flows through there, and we get an extra 30,000 BTUs added to the heating system. That is controlled by, right to the left of that, there's a blue box you'll see with a, John Manning builds that box, his guys do. It's the Phoenix control box, and it's awesome. It's made life lots easier for all of us. It can do all kinds of things. That's a simple one right there. It just does heating and cooling. In the auxiliary heat, there's some that do 100% hot water, multiple stages of boilers. John makes it however we ask for it. So we put those in every system. And then it's controlled by an outdoor reset that optimizes water temperature going through the house. This house would require that to be kept warmer than, say, a radiant house. You can see the zones underneath it. We tore the zone valves out and put Taco Century zone valves in, and there is, I guess there's 5 zones. I thought there was 4, I apologize. We bumped it to 3/4 inch pipe, but right behind there, it's 1/2 inch, which is just horrible flow to those units. You can see above those, there's 2 more Century valves, small zone valves. The one feeds an air handler in Bruce's living room, and the other one feeds outside and down and out to the lower bedroom. But all of that is in that room is very small, very small. There's on the front of that stand, the wooden stand, you see a hydrostat controller, and that controls the hot water temperature and all the settings inside the unit. Again, that's a close-up of the Phoenix Energy box. We added a heat cool, and in some houses we would not have to do that. Here we did. To the right is an Aurora web link that hooks into the OptiHeat unit. In the 7 series unit, that provides far greater information for us than it does out of a water-to-water unit. We get basic information, and I realized yesterday that Bruce's is offline, so I have no information from Bruce's. So we've got to, they don't like staying online sometimes. But that's what it looks like when we talk about a Symphony. That is a Symphony monitoring system. This is just a straight on of the unit, size-wise, and how much room it took up. That's tight, very, very tight. What we may do, there's a variable speed flow center and a variable speed load pump up to the left-hand side. It's a velo pump that is kind of blurry in that picture. I apologize for that. You can see the piping that we use is direct to load, and that is how it is installed. There's a close-up of the zone valves and the return lines from all the baseboard units out in the house. They're insulated because the cooling would come down there and drip a little bit on there when he's in cooling mode. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here to really go over. Not much here. So these are the multi-aqua units that we added, that we got these from John. And it's nice because it kind of shows there's multiple ways to do it. That's the runnel unit also to the left, and in the 1/2 inch that's feeding it. That's the heating unit that's in the bedroom. And then we set the multi-aqua next to it down here. That's a console unit. And then you have a high wall unit. The high wall unit is more typical for what people would see in air source systems, VRF systems. That is a normal sized high wall fan coil. That is on the back side of the utility room facing out into Bruce's living room. And really, we'll do all his cooling, obviously, and then heating it would help. It helped quite a bit for heating, especially at the higher water temperatures. That console unit, I believe, to the left is used much more than the runnel unit in that room. Bruce, I have to confirm that for me. But that unit was pretty much the most important unit to me because I did not feel like we could heat that room at all with just the runnel unit. Is that correct, Bruce?
I think both were a concern. I'm not sure which room you said you had the most concern about, but they both are working great in both rooms.
Yeah. So this here, so getting away from the installation, those are pretty typical installations. So this here is, I talked to Bruce about this, and this is an odd kind of setup. There was not a lot of discussion about other systems, about putting a boiler in. We didn't talk about that at all. We didn't talk about usage. Bruce wanted to put geothermal in. He wanted to show his son basically what we should be doing and what's right. And that's pretty much sums the whole system up, I feel like. But I put in here a comparison to upgrading to a high efficient boiler. And if we were to put a 3-ton air source unit in with 2 heads inside. So I put a rough number in there and to show some sort of payback so that we had a rough idea of what that would cost versus the geothermal system. Bruce received a higher than normal rebate for this setup. The normal setup would be $9,840, I believe, and he received just over $12,000 because of where his home's located in Lansing. There was extra funds for that. And then 30% rebate on top of that. So that brought the overall price of the system to $23,590 after incentives. Comparing that to the fossil fuel system, there is the payback. There was no loan, so there wouldn't be any of that. But you show a $66,000 savings over the course of the 20-year life at current rates. We did not discuss any of these. We didn't have any of these to go over because it wasn't a huge part of the conversation, which generally speaking it is, but it wasn't. This is a GeoLink that I did on the system to give us a rough idea yearly costs of the system. It should be pretty close. I was pretty comfortable with the cost of this. It shows loop. Actually, I messed that up when I put this in here, but it's fairly close. Shows a lower loop temperature, 32, which it stayed right at 32 all winter. We checked it a couple times when we went back down. Heating load is in there, cooling load, and there's the hot water needs. So that shows that he'd be around $560 for heating, $60 for cooling, and $83 for heat. I would say this should be pretty close. I don't have exact numbers from that on Bruce. I failed to ask about that because I thought the Symphony had that until I realized that it did not have that. So the nice part about this is it gives us a rough number if he was to put solar in, and we could, if you want to try to be at 0, we would have a rough number right off the bat to at least start getting close in that conversation at the 6,200 kilowatt hours, and then we could narrow it down once we had a full year of monitoring the system. So that shows us pretty close. And then this is Bruce's house after the propane tank has been removed and out of sight. So that is Mr. Monger's system.
I love the last picture so much with the propane tank gone.
Yeah, I don't know who wanted to put that thing there. That's a terrible spot to put it. Even when it was there to begin with, it was like, wow.
I know, who does that? Bruce, did you have anything you would like to add? And thank you again for being here. You can answer questions too, and then we'll open it up. Oh, actually, yeah, go ahead.
You want me to?
No, go ahead.
Ready?
Yes.
I would just add, Ryan asked me a couple days ago to sort of send him some pros and cons of the work that got done and our improvements, and the pros for Cassie and I, my wife, were that one of the folks that put it in, I felt like Damon in particular spent a lot of time like crafting the tight space and getting things to work in that tight space. And watching this guy work, I felt like he was like this artist. And the way he bent those pipes around and got everything lined up just right. And I felt at the end, we both felt, Cassie and I, that we had this handcrafted by an artist, you know, installation. Even though you see in those photos pipes going everywhere, if you look carefully, it's artistic. So happy about that. And then the thing I thought could be improved was maybe after a couple of weeks, set up a new appointment and have the installers come back, because we got an introduction to how to operate the system as they left after it was installed, but you know, we didn't know at that point. So a lot of the points that were made kind of went over our head, but if we had a couple weeks experience working with it and then having a return visit, it'd be kind of nice to just kind of settle everything in a nice way. So really happy with the results, happy with the quick response to emails and phone calls and all that kind of stuff, and quick to adapt to challenging situations like that round room down at the far end of the house. It was all done, you know, we were really happy with the installation.
That's great. The quick response is all thanks to Leah Dailey, by the way. So you guys should all know. That's not Ryan's end of the operation.
No, that's one thing that I talked to Bruce about at the end. You know, we fail in certain things, and definitely final communication with customers we're trying to get better about. And I don't know, you know, beyond, it's a definite, we have to get better at it. We just try to move on to the next system, and we're doing this and that, and we're failing at that point. And we know it, we've discussed it recently, and then for Bruce to type it back was like, again, we know that it's a concern and we have to address that, and we're definitely fixing that. We actually just had, we came up, it's funny, Bruce, we got done with that. We came up with a booklet. So we're going back to all the systems and trying to build a booklet to explain all the little things, especially in a water system, and then to go back and give the people the booklet that has all the pictures, the control operations and stuff like that, and seeing if that works. But it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I'll add, can I add one more thing?
Yes,
real quick?
please do.
Well, Cassie and I went to the HeatSmart presentation down at Myers Park about a year ago or so, and there were 3 providers there, maybe just 2 that did geothermal. I can't remember at the time. I think Snug Planet didn't do geothermal. Anyway, we, you know, Ryan and Dailey Electric weren't part of that, but I knew Bob Howarth quite well, and I worked with him at Cornell, and Ryan had put his geothermal system in, and I asked Bob how he liked the group and how he liked Ryan and the installation, and he was really pleased with it. So I contacted Ryan through Bob Howarth, and I've been really happy with the choice.
Great. Well, we're happy that, so just so everyone on the webinar knows, we had 3 installer partners last year, and we just added Dailey Electric to make 4. And we expect to just have these 4 going forward for the next campaigns. So we're very happy to welcome Ryan, and I will say even the other installers, although they of course don't want more competition, they just all think Ryan and Dailey Electric are so great. They've been grudgingly very happy to have him, and they've even said so. So we're a happy little family here at HeatSmart Tompkins.
You want to come in and make everybody mad?
I want to say also that Ryan is Dailey Electric is the only geothermal installer partnered with HeatSmart Southern Tier. So for those of you who are maybe from Binghamton or Owego area and may be affiliated with that program, if you're interested in geothermal assessment through that program, Dailey Electric is your company. Let me just share my screen. I have a couple more slides, and then we'll open it up for general conversation and questions. Let me just hold on a second here. Make sure I've got my slides up. Here we go. Okay, so So I just want to say, can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to sort of introduce all of our installer partners. We have 2 installer partners that are heat pump specialists, Dailey Electric, or Dailey Geothermal as they're also known, and NP Environmental, who's been with our program since the beginning. That's Nick Proputnowitz out of Watertown, New York. And then we also have 2 other partners who are Halco and Snug. And Halco is a full service energy company, including fossil fuel HVAC, including insulation, air sealing, solar, plumbing, electric, and many other things. They're a larger company. And Snug is our local homegrown Ithaca home energy company. They also do heat pump installations as well as insulation and air sealing. They are in our program as an air source heat pump installation company, not ground source. So those are our partners, and they go through a vigorous vetting process, rigorous vetting process, a vigorous vetting process to partner with us, because we want to make sure that we're recommending companies that our enrollees can count on, both for quality and follow-up and maintenance and all those good things, insurance, labor practices. We look at these companies in a variety of ways. So we invite you to get into a relationship with HeatSmart by enrolling on our website, HeatSmartTompkins.org. And that is just basically the process of enrollment is filling out a very short form. And part of the form is selecting installer partners that you would like to have contact you to come or remotely do a home assessment of your home's insulation, air sealing, and heating, hot water system. Those assessments are absolutely free, and there's no obligation to you whatsoever for getting those. If you are contemplating something major, like a big geothermal installation or more, we definitely recommend that you get assessments from more than one installer so that you find the system, proposal, and installer that is the best fit for you. And again, we are here as a resource to help you with any part of that process. So thanks so much for listening, and I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to take your questions for me, for Jonathan, for Adam Flint from Southern Tier Program, for Ryan, or for Bruce.